ahead. Okay, now what I want to do here, I believe I am live now. What I want to do is I need to send this URL out so that people can check it out. Let's just see here. I just want to share this stream really quick. Giving the old Peace Island stream another chance. Another try, really. And I could just tweet that out. Hooray! Alright. Just to see if anybody's tuned in. No one. That's all great. Oh, playback's one. Hey. Alrighty. But anyway, what I'm waiting now is for just this information to disseminate. Let me make sure that my audio levels are right. Let's see. Okay. And you know, I could just share that on Discord as well. Probably going to come on up over here, yeah. Yeah, for those who do not know, who may not have tuned in for previous ones, they've never really had a really good luck with these in recent months and weeks. I think this is the 6th time I've tried to stream. I don't know what my audio level's like. If anybody out there is watching and can tell me how things are. Hello, Richard Donaldson. Hopefully my audio is coming across well. Please let me know. Anyway, by the way, this thing in the background, that's the audio that's playing in the background. Hopefully you can hear it. Okay, audio is good. Thank you very much. I just need to know from person to person. And I don't know, I've not had very good luck. Like I said, the last 5 streams, I think 6 really. I mean, I could just go through the history and really. But anyway, I was going to tell you, this thing that I have playing up there, is it that way? Yeah, there we go. This is a player of the generative soundtrack that was composed for Peace Island. Depending on the time of day, as you can see over here, the happiness level of your cat, how active it feels, and exactly where it is, it will always change. And it's a very unique soundtrack, and it was an amazing achievement as well. Richard, the guy who composed it, it took him 3 hours to give like a video explanation on how it was put together. And it was a pretty amazing achievement, quite frankly. IMHO, it's not perfect yet, but considering, you know, hold on, giving me something about a keyframe. You know, Richard, I'm very sorry that it's taking so long for the game to come out. Quite frankly, I was hoping that we would have had a, I was really hoping that we would have the minimum viable product together by the end of last year. But unfortunately, you know, stuff happened. And things just continue to happen, it seems. Murphy's Law, you know, it never became so relevant in my life as it was after I started game development, because it's always... And by the way, you can download this player if you want. I probably should give the link in the description later on. I'll do that. But to go over... No worries, release it. Okay, cool. Well, again, we're going to be hopefully releasing... Oh, the cat stopped wandering there. Now, you see. So I set it so the cat is walking down below. That means that the music is always changing here. But if you do like it, if at a certain point you do like it, you're like, oh, I could listen to that for a long time, you just tell the cat to stop. And the paw stops. And let's see, empty quarter. Yeah, that was the big empty area I like. Let's see. What was I talking about? We are going to be releasing another alpha in a couple of months. We actually got a new character controller guy working for us. And actually, what I really should do to start this off with, I'm pretty sure, trust me, we're going to get to watching the game in a bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Alt-Tab. I was going to make a fresh build inside of Unity here so that we could just try it from scratch. Let's see. Oh, I've already got a sunset build, actually. Let's see. But we could try that, actually. Just a moment. But before we even get to that, it doesn't look like I have to, but I will go into the scene so we could at least look around while I'm describing. Basically, everything that, has gone on since the last time we had a successful stream and the last time we released an alpha. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to show you the island. So Jesse, Eric, let's see, Vid Studio 2. Let's see. Since the last alpha, we've revamped so much. We've redone the character controller pretty much from scratch. Brought in new animations. We let's see, have the follow system working. We have all of the NPCs that are required for the public demo inside of the game now. All we have to get them hooked up to the dialogue system and the quest system and start adding some content. The soundtrack, as you can tell, has reached its complete. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's getting there to a stage where we're ready to share it with the world. And gosh, the controller. Oh yeah, we got a whole bunch of AI stuff in there. We got the follow function. Now other cats will follow you. You can form like a group of cats and they'll all follow you. The biomes have been tweaked but not fixed 100% yet. That is just something that just never ends, the work on the biomes, because it's the game's world. It's what you're showing off, and I'm never going to be satisfied with it. It's like the painting that never ends. Capturing Maine's rocky beaches, I really don't know how I can do that other than to literally go in and hand place all of the boulders. I can't leave it up to a spawner. I just can't. Maine beaches are just, they're wonderfully chaotic and rocky. While this is doing, see this? I hate it when it does this. This project is so huge, it just takes a while, but I'm going to bring up a window. I'm just going to show oh, there goes Murphy's Law. There we go. And now we're all the way out, and there it's doing it again. Let's see. What I'm going to try and do is just zoom in and just fly around the island a bit. And what I'm going to do to make that a little bit easier is we're going to just turn off all, some extraneous layers, bushes and grass, because really we just want to see that. You wouldn't think that I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, would you? And a hot processor, considering that I have to put up with this for minutes at a time. But that's the joy of game dev, folks. Okay, good. We got rid of the grass. I'm going to get rid of the plants as well. Okay, now I think it's going to be a little bit less troublesome. Yeah, now it's doing a little bit less updating. Yeah. As you can see, the random spawner. I spent months and months trying to get it to do justice to Maine rocky shores, and it just doesn't. Let me just go over here. If anybody watching has never been to the coast of Maine, coast of Maine, rocky. We'll just look this up. Oh, well, thank you, Carrie. Let's see, 60, and we're just going to go. Yeah, 60% of Maine's coastline is rocky, you know, like this. It's just very, very rough. We do have sandy beaches, but they're few and far between. But you know what? Once you get up here, I mean, some people are like, oh, your beaches are just a bunch of ugly rocks. But really, once you get up here, you realize our beaches are a bunch of very beautiful rocks. And you just learn to, you know, hey, so sitting on a big, you know, hot rock on a nice sunny day is just as good as sitting on the beach. But I'm just trying to find more examples. Yeah, and you see, getting this sort of like chaotic order is something that maybe an AI can accomplish, or some sort of, you know, I think it could, but it would have to be coded from hand. And I could tell you my coding skills are not up to that level. But anyway, I mean, that may be something I do, and you know, once after we get the next alpha done, is I may just have to hand place a majority of the rocks on the island. Let's see. Just, I mean, for those of you who just are not familiar, this is the fish works. This is a fishing plant that's like very, very close to downtown, the downtown area, which is over here. But understand, this town didn't exist until World War II. Until then, this was the main town. This was called Old Town, because it was very close to this little cove over here, where it was just a little bit easier to dock your boats and such. But in World War II, the Army Corps of Engineers, they put this in here. It's unbelievable. I mean, I know every year of this island's history. It's kind of crazy. I mean, we'll just zip through the wiki maybe a little bit later. I'll show you the depth of just craziness. Every family. But let me see. Yeah, we're going to just go over here. Yeah, this is the mansion that the guy who built the fish factory built, and then abandoned about 30 years later. Long story there. There's a story to everything on Peace Island. Let me see. Oh, goodness, I believe that's a vacation rental right there. Just going. I'm trying to find the Battery Hamlin. Yeah, there. Oh yeah, this is the wetlands here, which is something that was created by the creation of Battery Hamlin, because what they did was they blasted away a heck of a lot of land to make way for this old World War II battery that's named in the game after Hannibal Hamlin, who was one of Abraham Lincoln's vice presidents. But believe it or not, Lincoln got rid of him because he was too anti-slavery for Abraham Lincoln. And it just goes to show, the great emancipator, well, he was a pragmatic politician. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah, this is a place that has a lot of history. This used to be an amusement park. It's now a farm. Some of the abandoned buildings of the amusement park are still here, but they're slowly sinking into oblivion over here, just a few of them. That's the remnants of the old aquarium right there. And this is the old theater. There used to be, all the tourists landed here, but then again, that was another thing that World War II sort of just ended on the island, because, you can't really relax and have a vacation if there's going to be, dynamite blasting going on, like less than, I'd say, a couple 100 yards away. I mean, I figured it out the other day, by the way. This island is about, let's see, it's about 250 meters by, 250 meters high, but about 400 meters wide. It's about the same size as Mackworth Island, Maine. And trust me, like I said, we'll get into the game soon, but I just want to show you. Here, get the satellite. This is a little island right off the right outside of Portland, actually. It used to be a privately owned island, and now it's a school for the deaf. It was given to the state of Maine in perpetuity with one of the agreements that the state of Maine maintained a, I believe it's right here. He said there's a graveyard for this guy's dogs, and it exists, I think, either here or there. But it's maintained in perpetuity. But the state has to take care of the gravesite for his, lost pets, or his begotten lost pets. And I thought that was pretty awesome. I have to turn this down a bit. Please let me know if the audio is kind of weird. Hi, Wayne. Oh, hi. I know your name. I remember your name. And like I said, Peace Island is about that size, and it's about a half-mile wide, you figure. And actually, I mean, on a nice day in summer, I could walk out there in about an hour if I wanted to. Maybe I should do that this summer, because it's a great place. I mean, you can walk around it, and it's open to the public and such. But also, you'll notice, for those I'm pretty sure you guys have been following it, you'll notice there's a very close resemblance between Peaks Island here and Peace Island. Here's the thing, it's actually based on a lot of the islands of Casco Bay. One of them is Peaks Island, and in fact, Peace Island was Laura. Laura's my co-lead developer on the game. Peace Island was her nickname for Peaks Island, and Peace Island was just going to be the working title. But when it went viral, we just stuck with it because everybody just knew it as Peace Island. But we also modeled it after Cliff Island out here, which is kind of unique in that, I've said it a million times, they have one of the few remaining, one-room schoolhouses in the United States. One of the, I believe it was one of the last movies Vincent Price ever shot, and it was the last movie that Bette Davis and Mary Pickford ever starred in, called The Whales of August. It was filmed in this house out on Cliff Island, and there are whales that still frequent the coast of Maine, and that's why it was called The Whales of August. But that was one of the biggest things that ever happened there, is that they had one of the greatest, 3 of the greatest stars in film history every day had to come out there and film. I personally have never seen it because it is a movie about elderly people, discovering love in themselves in their later years and such. And it's not my kind of film, not enough explosions. But maybe I will watch it one day. I mean, heck, it has Vincent Price in it, and he's one of those guys. I don't think Vincent Price could just walk on stage and, I don't know, read out of the phone book, and it would be awesome. I'd watch it. So, hey, that's an excuse. But it's also based on Long Island here. Long Island has its own history that's kind of just, I'm only starting to learn parts about it. But I have to say, even though a lot of people say we love Long Island, it's one of the best islands of Casco Bay, I have to say it is one of the, unless you're into hunting, and unless you can't have fun without a sandy beach, Long Island is kind of boring. I really like it's got a very unique local flavor and almost its own dialect. I mean, if you go into the store there and you hear the storekeeper talking to the locals, it isn't almost like Tangier Island, where you can't understand them at all. But and as you can see here, Long Island does have the largest public sandy beach on any of the islands of Casco Bay, and I believe this entire island here, which has a pretty sizable, nice beach, it's open to the public as well, and you can literally walk across here during low tide. It's not dangerous at all. And I would like to say some of it is based on Shabig, but I've only been to Shabig once, and my experiences there were not all that positive, let's just say. But I may want to visit again, because here's the thing. A couple of years ago, about 10 years ago when I did visit it, this sandbar was not permanent. You could only walk across at low tide, and they warned you, watch out for quicksand. Hold on, did I drop something here? Hopefully I didn't. And I was like, well, quicksand is one of those things that I literally have a phobia about. But as you can see here, it looks like in recent years, either the satellite photograph was taken at extremely, extremely low tide, or the sandbar is slowly building up. This sort of stuff does happen. Since the time that I've been here, you can't see them on the maps anymore. Actually, you can see little bits of them here. The only way that you can get from Little Diamond Island to Big Diamond Island sometimes is at low tide. You have a sandbar that connects the two. And when I first moved here, and you can only see just little remnant right here of one of them, I believe. They intentionally sunk 3 ferries to make sure that the sandbar here was maintained. But now it seems that, even in the satellite overview shots, you don't see them anymore. And I remember when I first moved here on Google Maps, they were very plainly right, along here. And now you can't even see them above the water line. They're completely gone. I'm figuring maybe they decided it's, at a point where it's self-maintaining. Or maybe the Army Corps of Engineers did something out there. Army Corps of Engineers recently did some work on Fort Gorges. It was like Obama's, farewell gift to Portland, because we were afraid. This is a World War II battery. A fort that was built in the 1850s, and it had to be abandoned before it was even finished. But it was still very solid. But because of the salt in the air, in the sea air, slowly getting in to the mortar and such, it was slowly, the mortar was falling apart and the bricks are falling apart, and we were afraid it was going to have to be privatized to maintain it, because we were afraid in a couple of years it was going to be unsafe for people to go out there. But fortunately, right before he left office, he signed a bill, and hooray! Thanks, Obama, as they would say. No, I don't want to get political here, but thanks, Obama, because it would have been horrible. I can only imagine what they would have they would have turned this into like some sort of freaking resort or something. It would have just been awful. Now, before we go into showing you the game, because I think I've gone on and on about the islands that inspired it, I just want to visit the restroom really quick. And this music seems to be stuck on a sad, so I'm going to take this up to happy, perhaps. And activity here. Liz's house. Yeah, I just want to visit the little boy's room, and I will be right back, and we can just putter around the most recent build. It's not perfect, and I'm going to make my fair share of excuses, but as I always do. But I will be right back, guys. Oh, is it, oh, it's stuck. It's just stuck on that one thing. I should set a movie again. Now, one other thing that's kind of curious that, I mean, I've reflected upon recently is that, right now, I mean, about how people's attitudes about islands have changed over the generations. One of the things that's, and this is the last thing I'm going to go on and on about Maine Island history, is back in the day, this was known as the Coney Island of Maine. People loved coming out here. There were hotels bigger than anything in Portland over here. There were 5-story hotels. They had this theater that was basically, it was run by George M. Cohan. For those who don't know American history, he's the guy who, like, I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. He's like this Americana stage guy. He did show tunes all about America, and he ran a theater here. And but that was about 100 years ago, about a little bit over 100 years ago. And then by the 1970s, no one wanted to live out on the island. It was just sort of just like, why do you want to live out on the island where you're not around anything? It takes for everything. And during this a couple of summers ago, I spoke to the guy who owns. Let's see, it's Richard Boyd's art gallery here. This guy, he bought this house right over here in 1970 for $15,000. Now, it's right across the street from the only island market, the ferry terminal, and literally houses like that now go for $1.5 million. And at one point, that guy got it. And now, even back then, there were no houses back here. In the 70s, it was just completely empty. And now, unfortunately, it's becoming populated again. And every new house that goes up out there, I'm not an islander, but I feel resentful. I'm like, how dare you? This is these few places where you can go and there's no houses and you can just enjoy, and nah, you gotta go out there and just stick your McMansion on there. Even though this guy who recently built his house, at the same time, there were 2 other houses just like the one that he was building that were for sale on the back shore. But he was like, no, I gotta have my own house. I want the one in the catalog there. So, and I was actually met the guy once. I was in the island has 1 cab, and the guy was absolutely clueless. He was like, oh yeah, maybe I should learn something about this island. I'm gonna be living here. This guy, he came out there, he has utter disregard for the place, and he just decided to squat there, poop out a big McMansion, and didn't even take a minute to learn anything about the place before he went there. Personally, I hate that. I really hate that. Anyway, sorry for going on and on, but I just wanted to mention that. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to Alt F4 out of that sucker. And we're going to close Unity because we want to really, we want to save system resources because here's the thing. One of the things that really doomed the last, 5 or 6 streams is that when we would create a build. And I'm looking over here. I should, maybe put the camera in the same place. It looks like something happened here. Hold on. I'm going to have to refresh the display capture. Nope. Cancel. And the video capture. Yeah. It doesn't look like it. Hold on, guys. I guess you guys can hear. Okay, good. I see my camera's back up. Okay, fantastic. Awesome. And let me see, make sure okay. Now, as I was saying, before my camera so rudely interrupted, was crapped out on me, is that I would routinely, for some reason, I left Discord open. Let me close that because the last thing I need is distractions with I'm talking to you guys. Okay, is that we would create a build. I would literally just play the build here for about a half hour straight, and it would run fine. But as soon as we started streaming it, it would crash. And the worst thing that can happen to a game developer when they're showing off their product is for it to crash every time you try and run it. And that was just, I broke down in tears several times because that happened. But, you know, here's what we're going to do is we're going to just try it again here. And if it does that, well, here's the thing. Just know that it didn't do that before, and we'll just try and show it off as best as we can. Let's see, Peace Island. Yeah. Oops. And we're going to show it at very high rather than ultra. Very high. And what I would like to do, rather than showing it at this 19 by 7, I believe that's the best one. Yeah. Okay. And we want it full exclusive, full screen. That's still kind of stretchy there. I'm just trying to get it so it's. I think is that it? Yeah, we're still getting it stretchy here. You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna go windowed. And I could take it all the way up. Actually, why the heck? Why are you doing this? Because we're doing it full screen. I could do it at 3440 by my 1440. I was just thinking maybe it'll perform better if it was like at a lower resolution. But hey, why not? We can give it a try and see how well it runs at full blast. If it doesn't run and it crashes, well, we'll see. Now I got to bring up my YouTube window in the background over here to make sure that I'm still streaming. Oh, stick it over there. There we go. Okay. Let's see. And now, there. Good. And as it plays, I can point out the things that we've changed. Okay. I'm hoping that my audio level is still good. I'm just going to check it over here. Oh, poop. It just blinks immediately out on this screen whenever I try and access another app. You'll have to forgive me. I'm just trying to minimize this. Check my audio. My audio is good, it sounds like. Okay, good. All right. For those who have played previous alphas, you'll notice that the intro screen has changed a little bit. Number one, you can see that for some reason the rocks are gone on the beach over here, and that's a new one on me. But we changed the sky and a lot of the layout of the intro screen, and we changed the audio. Before we had a little 1.5 minute clip of a cover of VNV Nation's a song called Perpetual. But here's the thing. We really wanted that song, and VNV Nation's music has has inspired a lot behind the game. And when I first contacted Ronan Harris via Twitter, he was like, "Yeah, sure, get in touch and we'll talk." He never, followed up. He just ghosted me essentially, and so as a result, we never got the rights to that piece of music. And considering we were close to releasing our minimum viable product, we had to replace it with a piece of music that we had the rights to. This is a piece called Oceans of Time. Excuse me. I know it's rude, but I'm hypoglycemic. I'll take care of this in a moment. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to continue. New game. Because right now we have the save and load working, but its integration was troublesome. Yeah, this is the opening scene, and you can see here, it looks like, you see that magenta square up there, we have a little bit of a missing texture there. We'll have to fix that. And now this is something that was not included in the last alpha, and we really wanted to show off. This is the first interior that we've included. This is essentially where you will start the game. This is the house that Lizzie wakes up in. In fact, if you look back there, you could just barely see it because of the lighting, but our kitty carrier is back there. And you wake up inside of the kitty carrier, inside of your new house for the first time. And now, the cat, now this is something that we have not done yet. We included litter boxes, and that's how you're going to be saving the game. In order for, you just take any of your cats to a litter box, have them hop in, and then you save their game. And because it was sort of like this Chekhov's gun, these litter boxes. It was like, why aren't we letting the cats use them? And we don't want to have them pooping, but we're like, of course. They go in, the save screen comes up. Duh. And they're going to be covered litter boxes and such. And this there's a keypad back here. Let me see, did we ever, yeah? We didn't get the proper art up here, but that is how you're going to be able to turn off the power on and off in various houses. Because part of the game is resource management, and you're going to have a finite amount of electricity to run things at certain times. And anyway, now, before we were thinking the cat would just jump into a box to save, but the litter box is a far more effective thing, I think. So, at the end of the intro, now there will be a cat sitting in this window, and as soon as you get around to about here, that cat will jump out, prompting you to follow them. And by the way, that little jump there, that little like jiggy thing, basically the cat jumps and does a little like kick. That is actually now been fixed, and that's a little story we'll have to go into later. That had to do with somehow the landing animation got misplaced. And now that we have the landing animation, it no longer has this weird redundancy in the background. Now, right now, it's loading the entire exterior world, and trust me, it's going to get quicker, but this is the first time that it has to load the exterior, and it's going to take it a minute or two, and we have not added the loading bar, but trust me, here we go. Yeah, there we are. Alrighty. Now, like I said, we have the move. It doesn't look like ambient occlusion is working very well in here, but we'll see here. See? Now that we've walked up to that cat will follow us literally until, oops, a little bit of a turning problem there. The cat will follow us until the ends of the earth. Now, usually you'd run into some geese along this way, but for some reason the geese, boy, that cat's really jittery. And let me show you another thing. Is he dead? Yeah, we got the kitten in here, but we cannot ask him to join us right now. All he's going to do is just sit there. And, you can see him, he's kneading the ground there. And his fur texture is really screwed up. But we do have a kitten in now. And that was something. And he is controllable. And that was something we were not even going to be including in the minimum viable product before. But I don't know, our character controller person was able to get... Yeah, it looks like ambient occlusion is turned off here. And I apologize, that means it's not looking 100% here. Ambient occlusion is the thing that, makes things look a heck of a lot better. I have to say, it just does. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's a lighting element. It would make these bushes here look a heck of a lot less fluorescent, shall we say. But now we're in downtown. Another thing that we were able to add is the reactive grasses. You see how that kicked there? Now when the cat walks across the grass, as you can see there, it will lie down in their wake and then pop back up. I mean, it's not perfect right now because it needs a little bit of adjustment, but now that it's in there, we will do that adjustment. I don't know whether the new graveyard was in the previous one, but oh yeah, we also added a new biome, this roadside biome, because sometimes things just got too, a little bit too just open, and we had to make things. We're going to go over to the shadowy side of the downtown area right now. Now, one of the things that's currently being done is we are going to be fixing the ambient audio. Right now we have some sort of just generic bird and insect sounds and a little bit of a generic, ocean sound. Also, we're going to be replacing that ocean very soon because it's just not good. I'm just giving it a run around here. Oh yeah, I did a lot of landscaping because I just discovered there was no shortcut to that. All the roads in this all around the island have been hand carved. All the paths, these ruts in the road were all put there. Just I had to draw them all. But I didn't so much had to as I chose to, because that's the only way they would look right. It looks like, I do not like that Terminator right here. The cut off of the grass there is just too clean. I'm gonna have to fix that. Also added some other locations. This is the old migrant cemetery, because the migrant workers who used to work at the fish works over here, blah de blah de blah de blah. This is the old the migrant housing and such. Let's see here. Let me see if I can. Oh, crash. All right, we did have a crash there. All right. Hey, we got it running a few minutes. Now, the thing is we got up to the point that we had the conversation engine in there, the quest engine, the save load, and a bunch of other stuff. But unfortunately, there was a video we did about it. If you go to our channel, heck, maybe I should just play it in the back so you can watch it, and it explains it faster than I could. And I could go get myself, stuff my face really quick, get myself a snack while that video plays, and you guys, it will explain what happened, why the video was, why the, just pausing that. I'm going to let that run while I go shove something in my face so that my hypoglycemia doesn't bother me. I will be right back, guys. Thanks. Hi, Eric here again. I'm the lead developer of Peace Island. In early 2021, I posted a video concerning estimated release dates for the Peace Island project. In this video, I predicted that we would be releasing a public beta by the end of that year, and perhaps the full game by the end of 2022. For the purposes of this video, let's take a look at that first date. Back then, we had 9 months in which to work, and I was confident that we would reach that goal. I still believe it was a rational deadline. So, what went wrong? To answer that question, you have to understand the nature of games and how they are created. If you are not aware, games are not unified entities in and of themselves. A typical game consists of an array of assets, systems, and scripts that are bound together around a core. For the purposes of this video, it's easiest to think of a game project being analogous to a vehicle, say a Ford Escort. You can replace the wheels, put in a great stereo system, install ultra-plush seats, add a sunroof, and perhaps a mini-fridge along with a dashboard television and superior brakes. However, the vehicle will remain a Ford Escort, constrained by the basic limitations of that particular model. What is more, if you put too many accessories on this vehicle, it will begin functioning less efficiently as the frame buckles and the engine is overtaxed. In November of 2017, the Peace Island project began with myself, Laura, and our one outdated computer. While we both had experience in game development and digital design, let's just say that we were not the world's leading authorities on these subjects. Our initial framework was not so much of a Ford Escort as it was a 1987 Yugo, and at the time we figured that would be sufficient. As the first 2 years passed, we added what we could, where we could. In late 2019, we were fortunate enough to get the support we needed to expand the Peace Island project and try to make sure everything within the early core worked as best as was possible. For the first 15 months, progress was steady. However, a process of diminishing returns eventually set in. Each new system was taking just a few days longer to integrate. More and more workarounds were needed, and some systems were actually conflicting with each other, causing the game to argue with itself over priority. You see, no matter what we did, we were still driving a Yugo. We realized that if we tried to continue to push more systems onto this inefficient core, it would take the better part of a year to finish a public beta, and that release would be far from ideal. So, we were faced with something that we hoped to put off until the release of the public beta. Specifically, we need to remove all of the systems that do function, put aside the ones that are problematic, replace that old Yugo frame with something that can confidently handle all of the game systems without the need for duct tape and more workarounds. Once that core is steady, we can reinsert all of the functional systems and assets. This newer, more solid framework will be able to handle the integration of the remaining systems at a far more efficient rate as well. We sincerely apologize for this delay, and going forward, we can only make one pledge. We will be releasing a public beta of Peace Island in 2022. We guarantee this, period. Beyond that, we cannot make a fair estimate of when the game will be completely done. There are just too many factors involved. One thing is absolutely for certain, however, a great game is coming. Thank you for watching. Now, I just want to mention, bless the people who are like our supporters. We have many supporters who are like, yeah, it's totally cool. You got, we understand it takes a while to make games, etc., etc. You know, nothing worth. It's better to do it quickly. I mean, better to do it well than quickly. And bless those people, but honestly, it still doesn't take it off of my personal conscience that things, I mean, have not worked out as optimally as they could have. But anyway, that is why, we had to remove a bunch of systems that were functional and no longer are. Now, one of the things that we have been doing a lot of intense work on, and I should bring this, I'll try and bring it up in a way that won't have many spoilers, but really, like this game is a story-driven game, understand that there's a heck of a lot of work that goes into creating the game that you do not see. And for example, let's see here. Yeah, we're going to... I'm just going to, considering hopefully the URL is just so small, we're going to go over here. There's a heck of a lot of work that went into the creation of, there's still a lot of work going on, the creation of the story behind Peace Island. For example, you guys will never have access to the wiki, but you can see here we've got every human being, erstwhile human being on Peace Island. We have, let's go to just one example. What was it? I'm just going to, because there was one that we recently did. But Boyd Grenier, 4th? No. Yeah, Daniel Turnbull. I mean, every one of these humans, we have their biography, their relationships with their other humans, their position on the main issues, their job, their workplace, etc., etc. And that goes for every human on the island, and it goes for every NPC on the island, every NPC species, and every building on the island, and every aspect of it. We could let's just go to special pages, and I could show you all list of pages, all pages. Yeah, this is the wiki right now, and really it's only about 25% of where it needs to be, because there's so much other stuff to do. I rarely get a chance to add stuff, more story stuff, and that's desperately needed. Arjuna, our guy who handles our environment design, has been really leaning on me recently to do some flow charts of the initial missions and such, and I agree that's absolutely necessary, but there are so many loose ends of stories that need to be tied up before we can comprehensively do that. We can go in, we can say definitely these are the quests that are happening in the first act, and so on and so forth. And there's just a heck of a lot of work that goes into this game that unfortunately is not going to be seen until you get a chance to play it, because you get an idea of the stories there. I think the way it is going to work, there are going to be 5 major story threads that go throughout the 200-year alternate history of Peace Island. And the lives of the 38 people that currently live on the island, they are all entwined in some manner that brings them all together. And the one thing that we have had to do is that understand we have sometimes gone into family trees here that go back. I mean, like I said, the history of Peace Island dovetails from the real world 200 years ago in 1820. So we have family trees going back there, going back that far, and there have had to be things inserted in those stories that all lead toward certain things. I mean, story writing for game, I'm like that meme almost. One does not simply walk into murder. One does not simply, write a story, a linear story for an open world adventure game. It's just it goes beyond 4-dimensional. I mean, writing is 2-dimensional. This is almost 5-dimensional, and just the depth you have to go to, and I mean, and it gets progressively, as you close those gaps, it gets progressively more difficult, because you have to make sure that there are no conflicts between birth dates, death dates, important events, etc. You have to make sure, okay, what were they doing when this happened? What were they doing when they first met this person, etc. And the third, trust me, you don't have to know everything that we are figuring out, in this game. I mean, I am working with, I'm sorry, I keep on saying we are working and trying to work with writers, and we are trying to work with more writers. But, excuse me. What was the point that I was trying to get at? The family histories, etc., etc. It's just that we're having to tell them, listen, it is not important that the gamer reads all of the books that they find at Peace Island. Just as it is, if you've ever played an Elder Scrolls game, you understand you will find probably over 100 individual books in your average Elder Scroll game. And you can sit around and read them, and some of them will give you bonuses. Some of them are fiction. Some of them, some of them are just like, you'll find this in this city, etc., etc. So that's our attitude toward these books and all of this background information. It is not absolutely necessary for the player to know all of that, but it is useful for writing purposes to have all that background information, because it gives you hooks on which to plan missions and plot points. And there are players that do enjoy going to a game and reading a book, and we want to make sure that they have plenty to keep them occupied. So unfortunately, there's just so much in the game that is not going to be straight up and seen by the you guys until you have a chance to play the next alpha with which by then we will have the conversation and save engine hooked up, but it's not going to have missions in it. Missions make their debut in the public beta, and we are going to have a few books. We are going to start that process. And when we work with writers, I've had New York Times selling authors. Oh, everybody's leaving. That's fantastic. New York Times best-selling authors quit on me after just going here and just realizing there's just too much. And it's just, I thought I was just going to have to go in and write, cute cat stories. But anyway, let's try this, the build once again. And instead of running it full screen, full screen at that very high resolution, we're going to run it, full screen at a lower resolution and not stretched. Let's see, what's the best way we can do that? Because you guys tuned in to watch the game. When I'm losing this many viewers, I know I got to do something. I get it, guys. maybe if I go... What the heck happened there? Wow, it went... Okay, it went to my both monitors. I see. That would have been kind of neat. That means I could play it across monitors. I didn't know that was a feature now. Ooh, I'm going to have to play that later. Ha! Maybe we can get that in the next build. Yeah, we'll just play it at this level, and I'll just scale it up so you guys can appreciate it, you know. Maybe play it at Ultra and see. Let's see. There we go. So let me, by the way, I'm going to go over here and see if any questions have come. All right. Salute. Hispano. Buenos tardes. You know, we recently released a Spanish language trailer for the game. We were going to release a Chinese version, but that was before I realized how absolutely insanely difficult translation to Chinese is. It's not that I was asked, I was going to try and translate it myself. I do not speak Chinese, and I don't believe I ever could. But the thing is I hired somebody who spoke Mandarin as their first language to do the translation of the script. I hired somebody who spoke Mandarin as their first language to do the reading of the script. When I gave it to somebody on Discord last night, they said, that isn't at all what the script says. And then I asked another person who spoke Mandarin, and they said the same thing. And I had a feeling, you know, I wonder if I got these two people together, if they'd even agree that whether it says the same thing. It was, I don't know, it was just, and yeah, here you can see the lack of the ambient occlusion over there. Maybe I could play it inside the Unity engine for a bit, and we can see that. It's just annoying. Let's just watch the kitten. Let's watch the kitten being cute for a moment. Here. Washing his toes and being pink. There he is. There he is. Ronan the kitten. Yeah. I can see no questions. Please ask questions if you have any. That's what I'm here for. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and it looks like this may be the first one that I'm not going to quit halfway through and delete. Because, yeah, I can see the lack of the ambient occlusion on the cat's fur, actually. Ronan is just sitting there, guy. Let's see if we can switch to Ronan. Let's see. Move, Ronan. No. We are Ronan, but we can't move him. That was another thing that may have gotten lost. But I think what happens is if you start it and immediately switch to Ronan, then you can run around as him. But the controller isn't 100% on him yet. Let's just go. I think at this point now the cats are. Yeah. Like I said, this is an emergency build. What we're going to do is we're going to play it inside of the Unity engine, because that way we can at least get, you know, the ambient occlusion to work. It's kind of, it's weird. I could have sworn I specifically did that because I recently did a interview with a guy in Argentina, and I specifically made a build with ambient occlusion activated, and for some reason maybe there's just some bug going on there. And you know, you're like, hey, what's the issue with ambient occlusion or whatever? It's just kind of crazy. It's the weird thing that happens when two objects encounter and there's, you know, that little bit of ambient shadowing that goes on. And here's the thing. It's one of those things that until you know what it is and what it does, it's like, oh, I don't recognize it. But as soon as it's not there, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm opening up the project now. Yes. And the guy down in Argentina I did this interview for, I did it in English because I cannot speak Spanish, but I can at least quickly translate back and forth and get the optimal translation over. But the reason we, if I have not explained this on YouTube before, the reason that we released our trailer in Spanish first rather than Japanese, because some people go, oh, aren't there more gamers in Japan? First, no. There are literally hundreds of millions of people in Central and South America and all over the world. And there are far more gamers in Central America than there are in Japan. And number two, Peace Island was this tiny little project that was just me and Laura, that was underfunded, and we could only work on it a few hours a week because we still had to work full time until, screenshots of Peace Island got shared on a South American cat lovers group, and because of that the project went viral literally overnight. And because of that, we got funding, and we would not be here had it not been for the, for the folks in South America who first, just widely disseminated the project via social media. And so that was our way of saying gracias. As you can see, it takes it a minute. Let's see. Yeah, I'll get better. That's the thing. I will say at a certain point the English voiceover gets a little bit emotional, but at that point, that's another story. All the things that you learn when you're like a game developer. The first trailer I wanted to do with a little kid's voice. And I hired a professional. Well, here's the thing. A little child cannot be a professional because that would be child labor. However, there are some parents who agent for their children who do voiceover work. I did hire a child to do the voiceover for the trailer at first, but she was incapable of not acting. I wanted an incredibly subtle performance that was beyond the ability of a child. She gave a good reading, and in the end she gave me 2 readings, and I was able to cobble. I literally had to go through word by word and just, stitch it together as best as I could. But in the end, I had to hire an adult who could impersonate a child. And, while she did a better job, it still was not perfect. And but at that point, I was like, you know what? It's good to go. We needed that trailer to go up on, Steam ASAP. And so I was like, okay, we can work with what we have. And I think as a result, that a couple of lines from the end, it does tend to get sound a little bit emotional, more emotional than it should. But, that's what we went with because we had to, because that's all we had. Let's see. I was going to go into the main scene here. Assets. Let's see. And I could tell how popular that whole talk, like it was about stories and books and stuff, was because like half our audience left while I was talking about that. And it sort of sucks, but hey. Who wants to look at a page full of text that they can't read? Let's see, Peace Island exterior. Yeah. That's my workbench file for getting the biomes working. Maybe I need to do another biome for the roadside. I don't know. Let's see here. This, believe it or not, is the main scene. As you can see, there's literally nothing in it except for the menus, the wetlands there, see the rivers there, and the lakes, and there's the statue of Alexander Ellison there, and the roads downtown, and a couple of, just a couple of structures. But and other than that, it's just the menu and the ocean. And but that's because we are using a. Oh my gosh! I just realized it's mostly cut off up there. I should. Oh, no. I should adjust that. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's see. There we are. There we are. Okay. Sorry, guys. Oh, have you thought about releasing the game with not so much detail? They continue to get the details of upgrades every once in a while. I'm answering. I'm trying to become. Oh, bye. Oh, thank you, Richard. So, bye. Sorry, I didn't. Yeah. Espan, I'm trying to come up with a good answer to his question. Here's the thing: in a story-driven game, you need the story, and trust me, when we get that, the conversation engine back in, we will start adding the content. We do have, I believe, the major stuff in the first act. The first act, well, geez, I don't want to give away too much spoilers. In the first act, you have basically about like two major things you got to do. But those two major things, of course, like in the tradition of all like open world adventure games, are broken down to mini steps. While it's loading, it always takes about a few minutes the first time it runs inside of the engine. I'm going to go grab myself a potato chip. I'll be right back. And can I say, one of the things, actually, we better wait until this runs. Just trying to think if there's anything else that I've not. I could just tell you how things have been. I mean, I think it's been about 9 months or a year since I've done one of these. While this is loading. No, I should continue talking about Hispano's question here. When I started making this game, I don't know, I did not know that I was setting myself up to... I was literally creating 3 of the most difficult things that an independent developer can make. An open world game, a game that features quadrupeds as its main characters, and 3, a story-driven game. So it's like I just had everything that just was not, and you can see here, the ambient occlusion is not working again. That's because I believe in the camera settings it is turned off. I could just go back and fix that real quick. It's always going to run a little bit slower inside of this. And I should go over to the project settings as well and make sure that it runs. And it's going to run a little bit slower inside of here as well. Let's see, quality. But, because open world, because it's gigantic, and, usually games like that have a staff of, like, well over 100, if not dozens of people. And it was just me and Laura. The quadruped... I knew it was going to be perfect, but I had no idea. I mean, we have gone through 9 people working on the controller, and that was just such a big. And the story-driven, it's just because of the sheer amount of backstory and everything you got to add, and it's got to be all interesting because in this case, again, it's sort of a non-violent game. We got to make up for the. We got to get the adrenaline rush and the excitement that, combat would normally provide. We got to get that in there. So, I was going to look at quality. Okay, it's all set at very low right now, so we're going to set it at ultra over here. And we're going to go into our camera settings. And hit our inspector and make sure volumetric, yep. It is not on. Now it is on. Okay. Crazy. And she's I mean, releasing bits of a story in an open world game where the player is going to have access to 90% of the world from the get-go, not really going to work, especially considering the way we want to have multiple endings. And multiple endings, if you want replayability to be enjoyable, oh, sorry. Maybe they had things to do. I don't take it personal. Some people are going to, at least I haven't had a ton of embarrassing crashes, and I'm not crying on camera. But, sorry, going back. What was I doing? Jeez, I lost my train of thought there. My goodness gracious. Oh, well. You know, I'll go back and I'll watch this video later. I'll be totally embarrassed at this thread that I just dropped. And these two people who just tuned in have no idea what I was talking about. I was talking about the game development, and it was related to story. Oh yeah. Here's the thing. If I played games, I mean, if anybody's played, an Elder Scrolls game, or well, actually no, a good adventure game that has multiple endings. A multiple ending game implies upon, in and of itself, that you want the gamer to play it more than once. That means, from the very beginning, you have to give that player options of, okay, I did this before, I want to do this time. You don't want to have them crunch through like the first act of the game where they have to do everything the same way as they did before they start having options that branch out into the story. I mean, that's something that I was touching on earlier. And now, let me see. Yeah, you could, I believe you see it. Let me just see here. I'm just going to go over to the camera settings. Actually, no. I believe I could see it. I need to go where there's sunshine. So I can, yeah, right over here. Just see if under the cat feet. Nah, jeez, the VAO went off again. That's weird. Wall camera. Sorry, yeah, it turned off again. I'm going to enable it in play. No, it's no, screw you. I'm not doing that. Oh, actually it might. Hold on. Now it's got to really completely rethink the entire scene. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. Our game does not like volumetric, it just doesn't like ambient occlusion. And that's one of that was the first and the most important visual, effect. But here's the thing. It looks like because I enabled it, we're just going to have to sit and wait for it for a while. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to kick us right out of there, and we're going to try opening it up again. I'm sorry, guys. It was, worth it. We won't have ambient occlusion, but at least I can try it. And, maybe this way we can also go directly to the exterior and see if we can occupy Ronan and run around as Ronan really quick. That's an option as well. We'll just do it without, that weird effect. I'm willing to bet the ambient occlusion is not functioning properly because there's probably another effect added to the camera that is fighting with it. That has been happening, that's been cropping up here and there, since the beginning of this whole refactoring process. It's like things that used to work no longer work. Things that didn't work before suddenly work. But the real kick to the pants was unfortunately the guy, one of the guys that we were depending on for the refactor. He was the major guy, but not the only guy. It sounds like there was a unfortunate loss in his family, and I've been through that myself, and when I lost a relation as close as he did, my boss was kind enough to give me 2 weeks of hands-off time, and I'm doing the same for him because heck, I needed it. It's tough. Losing a parent is a tough thing. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Veronica Nomova? Is that how you pronounce it? Veronica Nomova? Adios. Thank you. Yeah, we're opening up now. Yeah, we're going to see if we can occupy Ronan right now. Also, you know, we could see if we can walk into the highlands and find one of the deer, because we have not encountered any of the NPCs. I'm wondering where the geese are. I thought Richard had them all within the main scene. You have to forgive me because I do not speak Russian, but I can slowly just bumble my way through the phonemes. I mean, I've only recently, at the age of 51, finally. Oh, that means the TS sound, but it looks like a U. Gee, Homer. Well, that's loading. What we can also do is, geez, what else can I show you that's like appropriate to the project? Oh yeah, YouTube. Go to YouTube again. Oh yeah, we got swimming working. You probably saw that in our video. Let's see. You know, we're just going to play that because, like I said, it's loading in the background. This is our new player controller, and it's like, you know, the orange box where people are working on it. And we're going to have swimming working in the main world, hopefully, when we release, well, definitely when we release the next alpha. That's something that I definitely want. Bam. Sort of a little bit too much of a jump there. And if you zoom in, you could tell, I mean, you see their faces, their ears are down, and their eyes are just not looking happy. They look like a wet cat. And you can see over there. So let's go over there. All right. Go back over to our scene. And by the way, let me see how long I've been going here. I've been going for about an hour. I'm going to give myself 13 more minutes, and after that, I'm going to leave you guys, because 90 minutes. I've inflicted on you myself on you guys long enough after 90 minutes. So so if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them, or any requests of anything that you want to see or anything that you want to know. That's now's the time to do it. On my way out, because I really want to go into the kitchen and just, I don't know, I eat all the time. That's the thing, I don't eat meals. I just graze all day, so I'm perpetually hungry. Comes from working at that restaurant for those years. Oh, no problem, Camille. Okay, here we are back at that. So we figured out, okay, the thing has a big problem with the ambient occlusion, so we're not even going to mess with that. But what we wanted to do was to see, can we jump to Ronan really quick? Yeah, it's got to build it for the first time. Oh my. Yeah, and so there's our character controller situation. I told you that was a big story. While we're waiting for this to load, I'll tell that to you. It was an utterly dull story. I created the first character controller myself. I think I created it about 4 months into the project. 4 or 5 months into the project. I knew I couldn't get, I could not get climbing working, so I hired this guy in London and to help me finish the controller, because I had the animations. In fact, fun fact, the first animations for the cat here, for our cats, were created by one of the animators for Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5. We had some genuine like AAA talent working on this, but the thing is, that guy in London, he's like, oh yeah, I'll get it done for you in about 48 hours, no problem. He had the project for 6 weeks, and what he handed back was such a god-awful mess that I had to go back to what I had before. Then, after the project went sort of viral in 2019, and I could finally bring on some professional talent, I brought on one guy, and he did a controller, but unfortunately, it was not it wasn't 100%. It was good. He got things like the targeted jump working. One of the things that's not working now, but I mean, it was amazing because for the first time I could jump onto the roof of the buildings and such. But unfortunately, after that, I got this recommendation. They were saying, hey, hire this Brett guy. And yes, Brett, if you ever see this, I'm using your real name. This guy used a lousy system knowingly that would not produce what we wanted. And all the times we went to this guy going, hey, could we please use this other system that does exactly. He'd go, no, I got a plan here. I'm going to do that. And the thing is okay, now we're going to see if we can just immediately, boy, can we skip to another cat? No, that may have been disabled the moment that I moved Elizabeth there. This time I'm going to try it. But anyway, that guy, here's the thing. I will admit that just like any business, Peace Island LLC has had about a 2% loss rate. This guy, I will say, sat around for about 10 weeks, accumulating money, getting nothing done, and then he bailed on us. Now, here's the thing. None of our contributors on Patreon had to pay for a cent of that. I paid for it out of my own pocket, out of my own budget, out of my own pay. Because I was like, it's my decision to hire this idiot, and I should pay the price. The customer, I mean, you guys out there who support this project shouldn't have to. So finally, after that guy just disappeared, we finally got a guy by the name of Jesse. Now, he got this current controller working, and he got it working better than we ever had it working before. He got it climb working. In fact, let's go straight over, rather than just going over. No, we were going to play, just to see if we could skip. After this, we'll go to the controller, and that'll be the last thing I show off. He was more of a data guy than like an animator, controller guy. So he did a good job, but there was a lot. He could have done a lot of like blending a little bit better. But the thing is technically did a good job. Now, he had to quit. Not because he didn't like the job. It's just that we could not supply him with a 40-hour-a-week, job. I mean, he needed the money. We could, but now we have a new guy that is going through his trial period with us, and I believe now he's the 9th person who has worked on this, and he seems to have a pretty good grasp on what he's doing. The last guy that we hired for the job, he. Jeez, I thought it was, okay, the last guy we hired for the job, he tried out for the job because we advertised for, character controller specialist needed on a number of sites. I gave him the controller as best as we could isolate it in a scene by himself. And I told him, listen, I know this is cockamamie, but the project is in the middle of a refactoring and we're fixing it, but this is the best extraction we could get of this raw controller scene. There's a lot of extraneous stuff in there that you don't have to work with, but understand, we just want you to go in, poke around in this thing, and see if you can get it to work, if you can wrap your brain around it. And, but I had to emphasize, you have to work with what we got. These systems, as cockamamie as they are. And about an hour later, he wrote back and he went, oh, yeah. And 2 days later, he started sending me videos about just great progress he was making. And he was making fantastic progress. But I noticed the animation and a few things were going backwards. Going to see if we can skip to Ronan here. Still can't move the little tyke. Well, no, we're going to go over to, that other cat scene and get that solved. Just view, it was nice trying. but we apparently cannot run around as Roan and the kitten in this, but trust me. But anyway, at the end of 20 hours, because I said work 20, I mean that's a trial period. He said, oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I couldn't get that scene to open, so I completely rewrote everything from scratch. And I was like, did you, number one, not hear what I told you what I asked you to do at the very beginning? And also, are you not aware that that basically renders all the work that you did for us for the last 20 hours completely useless to the project? And I don't know. There are some kids, some kids out there who just think they know better and they can just walk in and do that. And trust me, there was a time in my life. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Can save? There was a time in my career when I worked in digital media where I felt like that, where if a boss told me something, I was like, no, screw you, I'm going to do it my way. Let me tell you, I learned within a couple of months, if that was my game plan in this career choice, I had better start finding a good refrigerator box and a good bridge to live underneath, because I wasn't going to make it very far. And this kid he was just, no, I'm just too smart for everybody. And bless him. Good luck, guy. I mean, on his way out the door, I was frustrated with him, but I did tell him, listen, guy, you know, you do good work, and I think you probably do have a career in this field, you know. But in order to get this to work, man, you cannot, see, he's following him. You cannot do stuff like that. You cannot just, you know, make up your own freaking rules. Oh no. What happened? Did I stop streaming? Hold on. I think I stopped streaming. No, did I? Yeah, I stopped streaming, I think. Holy crap. Oh, well. I don't know if anybody's watching or I stopped, but hey, good evening. Thanks for dropping by. Bye-bye. Sorry about the quick ending.